Hi guys, I'm just going to show you all how to start a fire using a bow drill kit. So the tools you will need is a knife. You can do it with a wood carving knife, or you can actually do it with like a Swiss Army knife, or even just a large pocket knife. And now you're also going to need something to split a piece of wood, because that's where we're going to need to split this. So you can use like a hatchet or a wedge. So then the four components that a bow drill needs: it needs a handle, a spindle, your board, I don't really know what else to call it, and then your bow. And that's why it's called a bow drill kit. So yeah, let's get to it. My knife, and I'm cutting into this piece of wood, which is going to be our spindle. And this is square because it's hard to find a straight enough just stick, so you can use this, or if you find a really nice straight stick, you can do whatever. So I'm just going to round this off a little bit, and then it'll be good. And you want to be sure to have your hand back behind the knife blade. You can do it with your thumb on the back or whatever. And I really recommend that an adult does this or helps you with this part, because this can get sketchy. Always go away from yourself. And you want the pointy end of this final cut to be on the piece that you want to keep, if that makes sense. Alright, we're almost there. Getting much closer. And we'll just have to like make this nice and pretty once we get done with it, so it'll fit nice into the grooves of the handle and the board. Alright, that's not gonna go yet. So a lot of patience. And yeah, I did end up putting gloves on because it was getting sore on my hands. Also adds a little protection, which is always nice. Break that off. There we go. Nice. Look at that. Knife only. So now we just gotta round this up and do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so when you put your paracord or shoelace onto your bow, your stick, you want to be sure that it is as tight as you can get it. So make it crazy tight here. Now let's see what I even got going on. Good. Tighten this up, and it can be pretty difficult, so just take your time on this part. You want this cord to have a nice tight finish. Can you stop this? Alright, so I'm going to hold this as tight as I can. And figure out a way to keep it that way, which I'm failing at. Just give me a sec here. Alright, now for a trickier part of what you're going to do. You're going to cut a little hole in here, so you're going to want it to be like on the handle. And then you're going to want to make a little notch, like a triangle notch here. Now this is a bit unsafe, I'd say. So definitely have an adult do this, because, you know, kids have more time to use their fingers. So you just want a little triangle. And you're gonna make a hole. I don't know if this is a good spot. It can take a few tries sometimes, and I haven't done this in a little while. But you just want to kind of keep going like that. Don't put too much pressure on it, just a little, you know. You just want to kind of dig out a little hole. And depending on how pointy your knife is, it can take a longer or shorter amount of time. So yeah, we just keep doing that. And you can get that away, see where you are. And you want to do the hole first before you do the notch, because otherwise it makes it harder to do the hole. And you want to be sure that it's nice nice and spread it all even. Just sort of dig into it. There we go. So you can probably stop there. So you just want to, now we're just adding in those fine touches to the spindle from where we cut it earlier. So we want to get that to a nice point, but we don't want it to be necessarily really a sharp point. We have a good example right here. Probably would want this to be a little bit more, like less, like more gradual, let's say, is a good way to put it. So yeah, you just do that for a while. And this will all, it doesn't have to all take shape immediately. It will once you start using it, and you gotta just sort of break it in. So we have our hole. It's big enough now. It's going to be a lot bigger, but it's big enough to where we can get our spindle, the end of it, to have a nice fit in there. And that's all we need right now, something to hold it in place while we get it started so we can break everything in. So now I'm going to just cut the notch, into this. And we'll just kind of go down until there and see what happens. And pine is sort of tricky to carve. You don't want anything splintering off. It happens a lot, and it's pretty annoying. Probably, my advice would be to probably put it more towards the middle. You do want enough room on your piece of wood to put your foot, and be able, because you're going to need to hold that down. I'll get to the positions later on.
Or whatever.
Alright, so this part, actually threading the spindle into the bow is pretty tricky. It can take a lot of effort. So now that we have all the components, though, we can do it. So you want the part that you're going to have on the handle, you want that to be facing down. And then you want to just sort of put this in. You need one thing of the paracord or shoelace there, and then just sort of spin it in. As you can see, it's pretty difficult. I did this just a few minutes ago to be sure it all fit. There you go, and that's a little high, so let's just do that and see if we can scoot that down a little. There we go, and you want it to be right about in the middle. And then you want the stick to be facing away from you. You're going to put your foot here. And actually, this is a little bit backwards. In this case, I think it'll work because it's such a small piece of wood. But you can, because I can see, you want to just be able to, that you can see the notch where the coal, where your coal is going to come out. Now, it's not actual coal, this is what it's called. All the powdery stuff. So there we go. Oop, popped out. It does that a lot until you can get it really broken in. You want to put a lot of downward force on the handle. And downward force on the bow as well. Woo! So there we go. That was a good start to breaking it in. This isn't going too fast because of the spindle I have. But yeah, see, everything's starting to get a little bit of heat on there. You feel there, that's pretty hot. So yeah, just do that a little bit. Eventually this will all turn a bit black, like the color of the cedar here, because I've used this before. So yeah, we'll just do that a couple more times and then come back to you. Wait a sec, so you can roll it. All right. So here we just did it, and we didn't get it on video because we had to do two-person, which is just both people push. It does take a lot of effort, but what we did here, this is the goal. You want everything to look like this. See how the spindle has these little, these little burn marks on the end? And then this right here has the burn marks, and this has the fresh marks. If it gets too like waxy, that means you're not getting good contact, so I don't really know how it works, but a solution is to get some pine needles and crush them up in there. And then, yeah, so if you wanted to actually continue and make a fire with this, you would just make this groove a bit bigger and then just continue down. And then you want to have something under it, like a leaf or something. And then you just get a nice little bunch of this little dust, big pile of it. And then you can, just take that over to your fire and get it by the tinder and just carefully blow on it and stuff, and just you get your fire up. So yeah, that's about it for the bow drill video.